Returning once again, we return with team number 6, who has returned down into the caves for the night, perhaps to, rather than risk losing health to mobs on the surface, see if they can get a little more resources while they're waiting for a safe time to travel to come about. Team number 3 on the other hand are still grinding apples, but it does look like the team has managed to find some of the apples that they need, because they have been regenerating some health, so perhaps they'll be ready as well soon. Team number 4, as it turns out, are still grinding. They're still down in the spawner, but hopefully the guys will be ready soon, or the party might just end without them. Team number 1 has made their way into the open field, where they have put down a dead giveaway that they have been to the nether. A block of nether brick, which doesn't necessarily mean that they have found a nether fortress. It does however mean that they have been down there, and it is an intimidation factor towards other teams. However, stopping in the middle of a field to do some changes to their layer, they might just end up in a situation where another team finds them and they get a surprise. We never know, we will have to see. Team number 5 is still up in the extreme hills biomes, perhaps the same one as last time, or perhaps a new one that just meets up to it, but they are certainly on the move again now that the Breaker's Dawn has come, so hopefully they will be able to find someone today. While the team has not been able to find any opposing teams, they certainly have seen quite the landscapes, quite the pristine areas, some nice places that I personally would love to build in. But it is not what this competition is about, so hopefully they can rectify that today. Reaching the edge of the extreme hills biome, the guys makes the decision to go down into the fields below, so they can make their way a little faster across the land. Jumping through flower fields and having a jolly old time. Returning over to team number 1, it looks like the guys still need a little bit of apples, because they have moved over to the other side of the river where they put down the nether brick block and are now grinding trees. Hopefully the guys will be able to finish quickly before another team rolls up on them and discovers them in their work. It is a dangerous time to be out, so be careful guys. It does however look like the guys have other audience than just me, because right over here we have a couple of donkeys. Baby donkey view! Just as that happens, team number 5 has made their way to the top of a hill. The guys looks to be looking at something. They might have spotted something in the distance, and true enough, they have actually managed to find team number 1, who has not yet seen them. Oblivious to the presence of team number 5, team number 1 is just running about the field, while team number 5 are making their way across it, perhaps getting into firing range so they can try to attack the other team. Let's watch what happens. Team number 1 has yet to find out that they are being watched. You might be able to see them over there on the hill, but just as this happens, the team gets a little bit of a distraction and Enderman teleports in, making a ruckus. But also, with the rain coming down, the team will have a hard time spotting the other team as they approach them. The visibility distance is down, and with all the rain particles, it's tougher to see the enemies approaching in their armor. But just as that happens, the first arrow lands and the combat has officially started. Team number 5 engaging in combat with team number 1. Let's see how it unfolds. Taking a defensive position right at the river's edge, defending it, Pack and Paul takes the position while Key comes over to join them, covered by them so he can make it safely across the water without getting flanked. The other guys on the other hand are standing opposite the side of the field, shooting arrows long range to try and see if they can hit something. At this point the fight looks very much to be sort of a stalemate, so someone will have to make a move in order to change something. It looks like team number 5 is the first to make a change, running towards the river. On the side of the other team, perhaps to try and make a flanking move from the forest. But the question is if the other team are able to see this, and if so, if they will be able to use this to do another maneuver to get away from them. It looks like the guys have seen their move and has moved across the river to a higher position, but what will they do now? For now, Team 1 looks to be watching, and there's not a single arrow being fired. Deciding to go down from the hill, Team 5 on the other hand are moving around, trying to see if they can get to their position and flank them, but just as they're doing that, Team number 1 is already making their way across the field, and it is not for certain that Team number 5 has actually seen their move. It does look like they have seen it, however, but the question is if they will engage them now that team number 1 is moving up to the spot that they had just held, right up at the mountain's edge. Hopping over to team number 1 again, the guys are moving up the mountain that the other team had occupied, but as they're doing so, it looks like they have lost track of the opposing team. The question is if team number 5 has kept track of them, but as they are moving through the forest, it doesn't look like they know where the other team are. It might just be that this fight ends without anyone dying. And true enough, the team decides that there are other fish to catch, and decides to head in another direction to perhaps fight them another day. Hopping over to team number 2 instead, the guys have made a stop in the field to do a little bit of crafting. Perhaps the guys are trying to make the golden apples that they need so they can engage in combat with the other teams and be ready for it. It certainly looks like they're sharing the gold, so I think that is what they're doing. Team number 3 are still down in the caves, perhaps still looking for resources. It does look like they have recovered some health though, so that is a good thing. And finally, over at team number 4, the guys have decided to break up, starting to break down their cave. Very likely the guys are going to destroy the spawner before they leave it. You don't want to leave something like that for another team to find, even though this late in the game I doubt anyone would really benefit from finding it, because you have already spent several hours here. But it looks like the guys are ready to head out though, so it'll be a matter of moments before we see them hit the surface. Let's hop over to team number 2 while we're waiting. The guys are on the move again, moving across the field, but it looks like they have left behind a little bit of a calling card here. A gold pressure plate on the ground. Perhaps there's something a little fishy about it, we do not know, but we will have to see later in the game. Perhaps another team will come across it. Let's hop back over to team number 1 and see what they're up to. Having come down from the mountain again, the guys have started running and has managed to find themselves a village. Strangely enough, the village looks to be completely untouched. Very, very rare in a competition like this. Villages usually gets found quickly and gets raided. This one, however, seems to not contain a blacksmith, but it does still contain resources such as food, as well as villagers whom you might be able to trade with in order to get some resources. The guys are certainly asking around the villagers to see if they have some interesting trades. It might just be that they found something interesting, but we never know. We'll have to see with the guys there and see it from their view to be able to find out. It looks like the monsters has come to play as well though. The guys are not entirely alone in this place, but they do have to be careful, because a village is something that is a big red flag for other teams, and if you're not careful another one will come and get you while you're in there. Hopping back over to team number 4, they have broken to the surface and are running through the fields. I would suspect that the guys are very, very overpowered now, with as long as they have spent down in the spawner grinding experience and materials. They should have enchantments that could pretty much make them invincible. So at this point they are actually so cocky that they run through the field at night, putting down torches to light the path, saying, "Hey guys, come and get us, see if you can do it." Realizing how many torches it'll cost though, they quickly decide to just stop at the playing around like that and get a move on. So far the first combat has been quite of a letdown, but I'm sure the guys will meet up very soon, because with all the teams on the surface, that's sure to go something down soon. But we will have to wait and see for next episode, because this is how it ends this time. Thank you for watching.